Hey everybody, today I'm with one of our agents at Own Real Estate, Fatemah.
Hi.
Who in 2021 sold 44 homes for over 35 million in volume. I wanted her to share a bit about her journey and how she ended up here with Side and also Own Real Estate. So Fatemah, thank you so much for spending your time with me today.
Thank you.
Where should we start?
All right. I think a lot of people really want to know like how the journey begins, right? So the journey for a lot of agents is just like, there's no guidance. There's a lot of people are just trying to figure out why are you laughing?
That's true.
No one really knows what to do. So what I do is just do some internet researching, talking to friends, and luckily I found myself at Side.
Awesome. Now there's quite a bit of, steps that you took to get here. And I think whether it's big bullet points of the journey or what you've learned along that process, share a little bit about that.
Right. So thankfully I had one person take me on who was a mortgage broker and a realtor and one-man show, but he gave me the platform to work with them and teach me, but it didn't teach me much. It was just more like, bring me some deals and we'll close them. And so thankfully I didn't have any litigation or any issues because I really didn't know what I was doing. But it was a way to collaborate with someone that actually I really liked and that took the time to teach me what he knew. After that, because I'm always trying to figure out how I get to the next step, he was like, why don't you get your broker license? I'm going to help you. And, I'll help you and guide you to making your own business. And so that's what I did. And we still are really good friends today. And so I got my own business, lost that in divorce. But then the recession came, and the recession was really intense for a lot of folks, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, let me just not start my own business. Let me go ahead and join a brokerage. And I did join a couple of big brokerages. But I just felt like I was hanging my license there. It really wasn't anything that showed to be different from one or the other. And you really do feel like you're on your own. As much as people say, this brokerage or that brokerage, really, it's really like who's going to be there by your side to help you get to the next step. And so I did have the opportunity to meet Guy through a mutual friend. And luckily, Guy was open enough, Guy is with Side, was open enough to have a meeting with me just to meet, because I was like, how do I get into this big group where they're having agents that are completely killing it, and I want to know how to get to that level, because when someone says you have to have 25 million to even get in, I was just like, that's amazing. What do you do? So I met with Guy, and he was like, yeah, I want to introduce you to a couple people, and that's where the journey began. And I was so thankful because it was definitely a great journey to join Side.
Now let's give perspective, because 25 million today is a little bit different from the past. How long ago was that?
Yeah, that was several years ago.
And prices obviously have gone up, where the transactions needed back then were much more than what it is today as well. Right.
Absolutely.
So from that meeting and throughout that journey, what do you think most agents that join a team, or in some cases a team ridge, a team under a brokerage or a combination of the two, what are people looking for?
A lot of people are looking for connection, mentorship, elevating their skill set, and making the money.
For sure.
Making the money, right? We're not here for our health, right? We have to figure out, if we're going to hang our license somewhere and we're going to invest our time where most of our time is work, how do you make a difference in your life? How do you get to the next level?
Absolutely. And if you could elaborate on that, what were you missing along the journey, whether it was at the finance mortgage broker or as you went through some bigger box realty companies?
What I was missing is really more, so camaraderie is great. You want to feel like you belong. Even if me being an independent agent, I like being by myself, but I also like being part of a team. So to feel like you're part of something and to feel like there is that synergy is really great, because then you don't really feel like you're alone. Because a lot of times I always felt like a lone wolf, I felt like a lone ranger on my own. And then, the mentorship. Before I used to just look online, try to figure out who has the best videos and who did this. I would train myself. And
Right.
I realized that there's so much more to that, like self-teaching versus, there's coaches, there's mentors, there's people that actually who have done the transactions and the volume that you want to do or the income that you want to be at, that actually will take the time, like yourself, to actually take the time to mentor, which is hard because a lot of people are in leadership roles, but they are not doing a lot to guide their team on the daily steps, the weekly steps, the monthly steps, like the business plan, and how to make sure you're on track and making sure that you don't lose your agents along the way. Like, are you on point? Are you getting the skill sets that you need to get your deals closed? Are you on track with your income? And how do we get you to actually be able to hunt on your own?
Right.
Like hunting on your own versus like leads are great, but you also need to know, like, if you're not paying for leads, what do you do to succeed? How do you make it?
Got it. So what I hear you say is the camaraderie, the feeling of belonging, maybe there's some accountability there. And then also there's a business plan, there's a strategy, there's something that's applicable that maybe someone walks you through.
Right.
As much as all of us are technically business owners of our own book of business with our clients, there should be some level of oversight of how can we do it. We don't have to potentially reinvent the wheel because there's going to be people even I look at for where I need to go or where I want to go. So.
For sure. Right. I think everybody needs mentors, even yourself. Right.
Exactly.
It's like you're killing it. You're making big numbers, but even in any business, wherever you're at, like I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm still not where I want to be. There's no ceiling, right? Just like you.
Right.
No ceiling.
So Fatemah, I have a question for you. And you're out in the marketplace, you're helping your buyers and sellers, getting them into contract, moving, accomplishing their goals. But from the agents that you are in communication with, whether there's a transaction involved or just your friendships, your colleagues in the business, what do you see most people, whether they're struggling with or maybe they have some mental hurdles or they don't know how to level up a skill? What are those things that you see that they need help with, and what's your advice to them?
Yeah. So I see momentum is really difficult for a lot of them to figure out how to stay in momentum.
Okay.
I notice a lot of people don't know. They people are in teams. I've heard this many times. People are in teams. They don't even feel comfortable asking the team lead questions or asking for advice or help, and which is unfortunate because that's what leaders do. You're supposed to help guide your team and not have them feel that they are not reachable, right?
So let's stay there for a bit. They might not be able to get to momentum. And also they might not have the mentor figure, whether it's a team or the brokerage, to be able to reach out to.
Right.
What's your advice to help them? Or what's your feedback, or what would you do?
So what I did for myself when I didn't feel like I was in the momentum that I wanted to be, or if I wasn't getting the leadership and the advice and the mentorship that I needed, I was seeking someone that actually was willing to do the work and actually had the skill set and the time to invest in me to be able to grow.
And you were seeking, how many conversations did you have? Like, what does that process look like?
So I'm super particular because I really want to learn from the best. Like, being part of the website, I'm with the best, first of all, which is great. The second thing is learning from someone that actually is doing it, like yourself. And so thankful that, you took me on, because taking me on meant a weekly conversation, accountability, you seeing how you could add value to me, my growth, but my growth is your growth, right?
Absolutely. It's mutual.
So it's
win-win.
mutual. And I have to do the work in order to be able to earn, your time, and, vice versa, right? So we're both here to earn each other's respect and time, but the guidance is super helpful, and thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm happy it's helpful,
Very
first off, as well. And I think there's a big distinguishment. I run my own team, you run your own team. I wear two hats. I'm a team leader of my own team, but I'm also a broker in a sense of own real estate, but maybe in another sense, I'm a mentor to
Right.
individuals like yourself that want to grow a team,
Yep.
right? So I think oftentimes people commingle everything together. Their brand at side or their team is basically the top and everything is just within it. And maybe there's a lack of structure. But yeah, I think there's many ways you would be able to move forward and be able to build a team or build a brokerage, but there's also definitely some key components or standards that need to be in place. And at least that's part of some of our conversations too, which
Yep.
I've made my fair share of mistakes growing a team in the past, which was always my primary. And then now as a partner at side, obviously it's running a different function as well as a broker.
For sure. And I think too is just, I mean, everybody's busy, but finding my advice is finding people who actually will invest in you. So like for you, you took me on to help me grow. For myself, any agents that we partner up with that joins my team, I would give the same, because it is important not just to say I'm a team lead and join my team, but what does that mean? You know, it means like, what are your goals? Your goals are my goals, and how do I get you there? And like what you said, structure, a plan, and actually doing the work.
Absolutely. And I think through the years that you've gained this experience, being a really strong, successful salesperson, which you'll agree with me when I finish the statement, being a strong, successful salesperson is completely different from being a team leader or being a brokerage leader that advises agents, because you said it. You said it. It's basically, how do I help someone else accomplish their goal?
Yeah.
And it's reciprocated because
Absolutely.
we're under the same umbrella.
For sure. Yeah. There's a lot of leaders that are not really present. And unfortunately, I do hear a lot of people say I'm part of a team. I'm not getting the help. I'm not getting the momentum. I'm not feeling like I could talk to my team lead. So when you're part of that team, you're part of a team, but you're not. So finding someone that's really willing to invest the time and help you grow is huge. But yeah.
And somewhat side note here and different question, what do you look forward to as you grow your team?
Well, what I look forward to, I just, really I want to have fun along the way. In this business, you can get so consumed, it could really take over your life. Yeah. But having my team and I, not only myself, but everyone that's part of us, feel like they're growing. I think growth is important. I think that having something to look forward to and feel like you're progressing is huge. It's just huge for your emotional state as well, and feeling prideful of what you're doing. But yeah, so having fun along the way, beating my numbers all the time. And, with the agents that join. So I have an operations manager named Marina. She's awesome. She really does help, like the support of making sure that everything is running very smoothly. And she's like my right-hand person. But, we really do take the time. We really invest a lot of time to make sure that we do what we say we're going to do. And we just want everybody to grow and just make their money and change lives.
So a couple things I heard was working together and helping people accomplish goals. It's not a selfish pursuit.
Right.
It's
so
selfless.
lonely that way. It's so lonely that way. Yeah.
And the other part of it is your own personal pursuit of being the best you can be. Because the key thing that you said there was you wanted to be better than where you were at. Right?
For sure. Yeah.
And I think in our industry, it's so easy to get caught up in scrolling through social or talking to other people that are succeeding and comparing their outsides with how we feel inside, and we don't know what's going on.
For sure.
And that's a trap.
Yep.
And sometimes even me, as someone that's done it in yourself, I'm sure, we as human beings, we might still do that in our own mind. And versus what we really should be doing is just comparing what we've done in the past and how can we improve our position
For
from
sure.
last week, last month, last year.
But I think the camaraderie, but being able to have meetings of the minds and really take accountability and really talk about progress and really see, that weekly check-in is so important. Because, you feel connected, but not only that, you're actually figuring out how you can make the necessary steps for the next week, the next month, the next quarter. So, yeah.
And exactly what you just said, a constant conversation. Any relationship requires a constant conversation.
Yep.
Whether it's a spouse, it's a family member. When there's a lack of communication, then that's when there's a lack of alignment, or there's, potentially mistrust that breeds, or expectations are not met because there's no ongoing conversation. So maybe the challenge is and the takeaway from this is, who can you have in your life, whether in our scenario it's broker agent, but also doesn't have to be that. It could be agent and agent accountability. It could be your family member, or someone that's within your business. How can you create a constant conversation of agreement of where we're going and hold each other accountable?
For sure. So for ones that have gone through our shoes, but trying to figure out what the next step is, how do you grow, where do you get mentorship, find people that you feel like you can connect with, and actually will take the time to actually give you feedback, be honest, people that actually you enjoy talking to, and that you feel like you could ask for help, right? Yeah. Because if you can't ask help from who you're dealing with, that's already a problem. So I would say those are some key things that folks who are in the position of also seeking should do.
Solid. Thank you for this. I'm sure it's going to be helpful.
Thank you. All right.